Lord, guide us in our decision making, lift upon us with compassion. These blessings we ask in your righteous name. Amen.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, the members of the public that are here, thank you for attending tonight's meeting. You're welcome here anytime. For any of you who may have come to address a personnel issue, the board will not be considering that matter tonight, as it is not on our agenda, and as the personnel issues are not within the board's purview, Act 1 of 2012 places exclusive authority over personnel issues in the hands of the superintendent. Again, we appreciate you being here, and I simply want to explain in advance why the board would not be addressing that matter.
Can we ask for a motion to speak, for one person to speak per character?
Cannot. You can't do it. All right. Item A is executive committee report. Let's do a roll call.
Went through all the checks look good. Sales taxes are up again this past month, 10%. So hopefully they'll keep easing up each month as we go along. So everything looks good. Everything's in order.
So Randy, what are the taxes now versus last year still?
We're 10% up. We're about 21,000. Last year was 217,000. This year is 239,000.
Dave, is that a reflection of what you're saying? Just positive.
So we're 10% pretty good over last year. We're 12% pretty good last year.
Thank you, Randy.
I'm gonna do a roll call of
Yes.
the board real quick, okay? Mr. Randy?
Here.
Ms. Judith Here. Ms. Melinda? Here. Barron?
Here.
Ms. Bass? Here. Ms. King?
Here.
And Mr. Cass.
Here. All right. Item B is approved October 11th, 2022 board meeting minutes.
Motion that we approve the board meeting for the 11th, 2022.
All right, we got a second. All right, all in favor say aye. Item C is recognize Cassidy Tackett as Taylor & Sons Employee of the Month.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good evening, everyone. I'm Julie Freeman, and I'm here representing Taylor & Sons Insurance and Financial Services. And I get to do one of my favorite things, and that's get to recognize one of your own for her accomplishments. She is an employee at Union Central Elementary School. And let me tell you just a bit about what was said about Ms. Tackett. She has always been there when I have questions, and her door is never shut to anyone that needs her. She loves her students above and beyond, but she also loves her coworkers above and beyond. I have seen Mrs. Tackett go above and beyond to help all of her students this year. And what a compliment that is, to have the open door and a true love for students and for her coworkers. So your November 2022 Caldwell Parish School Board Employee of the Month, Ms. Cassidy Tackett, for her dedication and commitment to her community, schools, and her children, proudly sponsored by Taylor & Sons Insurance and Financial Services. I present to you your Employee of the Month, Ms. Cassidy Tackett.
I also want to add that Ms. Tackett was chosen as one of, how many?
21, I think.
One of 21 teachers from across the state to serve on Dr. Brumley's first ever teacher advisory board. So that's quite an accomplishment. Super proud of you.
Caldwell Parish.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. President and Board. Thank y'all for allowing us to part of you and get to recognize one of your own. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Ms. Tackett.
Yes.
Yeah, we did. I'll
Thank you.
Oh, Ms. King says, do you want to give us a Thank you very much.
All right, item D is consider one-time supplemental sales tax disbursement. David.
Okay. Well, on this page, I don't know where it filters into the packet. I think it's behind the sales tax, towards the front. Anyway, last year at June 30th, 2022, we ended the year with $318,000 fund balance. Some of that was kind of purposely done to be able to allow for this opportunity. to either pay out an additional amount during December, or it can roll forward into the June check. I mean, all this money is strictly for salaries and benefits, can't be used for anything else. I gave you all 3 options, and obviously we can do a different option than these, but if we did 1105 gross check, that would be $1,000 net check. $1,000 gross check would be about $900 net check, and then $850, which we've done in the past years, which was mainly out of the general fund, not out of sales tax, would result in about a $770 check. And then the effect on the 13th check, if we did the full-blown 1,105, that would leave $890,000 available for the end of the year disbursement. If we did the 1,000 gross check, that would leave $930,000 at the end of the year. If we did the 850, that would leave $988,000. Disbursement date, it would be December 2nd. If y'all approve this, is not require a professional development day as it has in the past, because it's coming, I mean, this is due to the employees anyway.
Dave, is that the only date they can get it, they can't get it before?
No.
Why?
We're gonna be out, for 2 seminars. We're out for 2 days this upcoming week.
So they won't get it during the Thanksgiving break?
Right. So I know that was also a consideration, but, I mean, we're out 2 days this week, for the business office, then we're out 2 days next week for another meeting, both of them in West Charlotte.
I mean, that's the, they can't get it done and we don't wanna do it. I'm just trying to make sure.
I think we really do not pull that off.
Okay. And you feel confident that you can, because I think the level of 5 is kind of what, you know, would be the best.
Yeah.
And I think you need to also tell them that if we do the 1105, then the calculation on the 13 check is gonna be totally different.
It will be.
Yeah.
And this 1105 is a straight across the board.
Right.
If you're a full-time employee, you get it. The 13th check is proportional. So, you know, if you
So the
get,
calculation is gonna be different.
so the calculation will be affected. I mean, if you're a lower level employee for the year, you'd end up being better off. If you're a higher income employee, you're worse off.
So y'all can do an attachment to that check stub when they get that?
Yeah.
You can inform them that that's gonna be the case. I mean, if there's no objection, I'm gonna motion that we do 1105.
What about a contract worker? Would it depend on how many days they work?
You'd have to be a
You
full-time
gotta be
employee.
full-time.
Yeah,
Yes,
Right,
contract.
it's just full-time. Yeah, they never got it.
correct.
I got a
Made a
motion.
motion, got a second?
And we need a date on a hire date. You know, everybody has to be hired by a certain date. And
What's the usual date we've been using?
we've been kind of flexible on that.
What's your
And I
recommendation?
don't know how many people we've hired lately. I mean, I don't want to cut anybody out or anything.
How long have we
But
been
how
going?
about October 31?
10/31?
Yeah, if you were employed by 10/31.
Nikki, you okay with that?
I'm fine with
I mean, that's,
it. I was gonna say October 1 because it's MFP,
Right.
but October 31, it doesn't
because
matter.
we're
Honestly,
not
hire
intentionally,
anybody up.
unintentionally excluding.
Right, so go with the later date.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
That's
just,
fine.
yeah, because I mean, if they qualify for it, then that's fine, okay.
Yeah,
Because I mean, it's a cross.
right.
So, I mean, you okay with that? Nikki, you okay with that? Well, I mean, I'll add that in the motion as an addendum.
So $1,100 October 30, right? October 30.
November, yeah.
Yeah, if you were hired by October 31st, you get 1,105. If you were a
Right.
full-time employee, check would be paid out.
And the calculation on the 13th check is gonna be totally different.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's proportional.
Okay.
All right, we got a motion and a second, right? Right. All in favor? All right, item E is consider approving a resolution expressing support for the Louisiana Association of School Superintendents proposal to reimagine the Louisiana Public School Accountability System and urge Louisiana Department of Education State Superintendent Dr. Cade Brumley and the Board of Secondary and Elementary Education, which is Bessie, to adopt their proposal instead of the current proposal presented by the Bessie Accountability Working Group in August 22, and otherwise to provide with respect thereto.
Nikki, before you read your, what's LSBA's position, you know?
This came from LSBA.
Okay, so that's their
Yes.
position? Okay.
Yeah, so this came from LSBA, and it looks like this, it's just a model resolution that they sent us. And so, rather than read through it all, I just kind of want to give you the nuts and bolts of it. This is something that superintendents have been fighting for a while. And the main reason is that, number one, they did not take any input, very little input from those of us who work in the school system. So very little from teachers, superintendents, or school boards. The idea behind the accountability is to lower the number of high schools who make A's and B's. And so the whole goal is we have too many high schools that are A, what can we do to bring that down? And so they've reverse engineered the high school accountability to decrease the number of A's and B's.
What's the rationale? I mean, why would you want to deflect A's?
That's what I'm thinking.
I'm telling you, that's what we've been screaming, is that it's not fair because, and we fought over graduation points and how many points a child gets when they graduate, and basically they're saying that a high school diploma means nothing unless you have an associate's degree to go with it. And so we have fought this entire battle, basically trying, because the way that they have it, only a handful of select academic admissions would have an A, and everybody else would be lower.
So Nick, from a veteran standpoint, that tells me that all of these standards that they've been implemented, that it's intentional for you to fail, because if you got A's
Absolutely.
and you're trying to deflate that,
Yeah,
1 + 1 is not equal to 2,
it's
which
not.
I think we need to send a strong, unanimous, motion with. I'm assuming, boards can put their own specific language, because I take issue with that. I think any teacher that would be here should take issue. If you're making A's, what you're saying is that we're gonna make it harder because we don't really want to see you
There's too many
making
kids making A's, so let's change the rules.
Oh,
And that's what the Louisiana State Superintendent's Group has come up with, a counter proposal that says, don't worry about how many are A's, B's, and C's, let's set a standard, what do you think we need to be doing, and set the bar, and then we'll try to hit that. So what we have proposed is maybe use a pre-post test model so we can see yearly growth from beginning to end. We want to make sure that the proposal aligns with TOPS. If you are eligible for a TOPS 2-year program, then you get points for whatever qualifies you for TOPS. We want to recognize work keys, and we want to also recognize ASVAB so that our armed service students also receive benefit or points for joining the military. We are asking for a 100-point scale, not 150 or 125, because we think it's easy for parents to understand. If you're an A, a B, a C, or a D, it's within 100 points. We're also advocating for our special education students. Not all of our special needs students graduate with a diploma. Some graduate with a certificate of achievement, but it takes a lot of hard work for students and teachers to earn that, and we want recognition for students who have earned those certificate of achievements. We have not run any simulations because it doesn't matter to us whether you're an A, B, C, or D. It's set the standard, and wherever you fall is where you fall. And so we purposely not run simulations because we're not trying to hit a bell curve. We're just trying to set the standard, tell us what you think a good education is, and let us educate kids. So that's what our proposal, or that's what this resolution just states. We would send it on to all of the VESI members and the senators to let them know where school boards stand.
So Nick, for the students that's here, I think it's appropriate because now they get a chance to see. What they're saying is that the A's that you guys may or may not make, that's not good enough. We're making the standards tougher for you guys to do. So when we make those decisions, that's why we always want moms and dads to contact legislators, Senator Rouser, Representative Rouser, and all those people, because they make these laws that we have to abide by, which we don't agree with. And there are some things that are policies that we have, we don't necessarily agree with it, but we can't change it. So if you want to be active, I'm glad to see you guys here, but here's another way to get active. They're going to make these standards a little bit harder for you guys. So if you're making A's, it may not be good the next year, so you don't have to work twice as hard. So why should you have to do that? You gotta follow what I'm saying? So it's really at a disadvantage. Not just to you guys, but to teachers, because they have to follow standards that they may or may not want to, and you're gonna have to comply, otherwise you don't graduate. So I think that's...
Well, and our big thing is we just want value for a diploma.
Right.
It takes a lot of work to earn a diploma, and they're saying it's worth 0 points on the strength of diploma. You have to graduate, and the only way to obtain the highest level of points is if you graduate and have an associate's degree from a college. And we're arguing that's for after post-secondary. I mean, that's not what we're here to do. That's not the high school experience.
So what if we?
This is Bessie that's doing this?
Yes.
What if we send it? What if you type up something and the school board members sign it? And then why can't we let the high school kids sign a petition?
Well, that's an excellent idea. I wish we had time, but they meet on November 10th.
Oh,
And so we are in a time crunch. We were just fortunate we had our meeting. Some boards had to call special meetings for this, but
We got
it has
3
to be
days.
sent out, but it has to be sent out tomorrow.
What time tomorrow?
Do you want to look at me?
I just,
I tell you what,
You think the more the
can
merrier.
can we just go in and add to that bottom page where
Just add an
every, because what we did was we have a place for, just the board president and board secretary, but we could do all signatures. So, okay, we do that.
could they text this and say they're protesting if they don't like this? I mean, they text everybody. Could they text somebody?
That's a great
I
idea.
think the more pressure you put on, the better the chance of
Well, y'all
change.
have groups
Do
there.
y'all understand what's going on here? People are telling you what you can't do, and you need to be able to do that.
Our Bessie member is Ashley Ellis. I know she has a Facebook page, and so you could absolutely, message her. You can find Dr. Brumley's email on LDOE, and Senator Reiser, and Representative Womack, Cleve Womack. Okay, okay, thank you. Yeah, Tammy's gonna type it up so you can all sign it.
Okay.
Excellent idea. I think we do need to pass that. though.
Yeah, we'll just do a unanimous, motion. Just need a second.
I'll say.
All in favor?
Who was the second?
You second?
It doesn't matter.
Melinda.
All right. Item F is cameras in special education classroom settings,
All right.
procedures. No, I guess I need to read all that. Procedures implementing LARS 17-1948.
So, speaking of laws and deadlines and that sort of thing, I know you guys got this kind of late. We don't actually have to have this policy adopted till December 31st per law, but on Friday, the Department of Education asked us to submit this policy on the 1st, even though that's not what the law requires, so we tried to go ahead and push it out to you. In the last session, this law was passed, and what it says is that if a parent or guardian of a student who is in a self-contained special education classroom requests in writing for there to be a camera installed in that classroom, we have to do it. Now, that being said, this doesn't work like a nanny cam. No one can have full-time access to the camera. The only time anybody could have access to the recording is if, actually the only people that could have access to the recording are the superintendent and any designee of herself, and that includes this person right here. And it would only be allowed just a snippet that would include a documented incident of some kind of abuse, neglect, or, worse, basically criminal activity. So nothing on these videos can be used to determine if a teacher's doing a good job, to determine if IEP services are being implemented the right way. The only time anyone could ever have access to this video would be if there was a reasonable belief that abuse was happening in this classroom. And before anyone could view it, actually, probably the reason I stood next to Mike today, he would have to redact the video so that the voices and images of all other students in the classroom are removed, so you could only see that student, that incident. This was actually passed in a different form last year, but there was no funding attached to it. The state gave us the funding for it this year. So it's one of those things, we have to have a policy for it. The law says that if a parent asks us to install this camera, we have to do it.
And we haven't had anybody ask you?
We haven't had anybody ask yet. This is the policy that Hammonds and Sills drafted for Lucia, which is all of the, for everyone in the state, but they're also our legal counsel. So what I basically went in was just types Caldwell Parish School Board. It's my recommendation that we do what Hammonds and Seal says because they're representing not only us but the whole state in this matter. Really the only sort of things that we're left up to would be like how many days would it have been, 4 versus 5 days, that sort of thing. And there's a lot of forms in there. They basically wrote out how they thought this should flow as far as, Form A is a written request, Form B is a written response. Form C is a written request to view the video. Form D is a written response to view the video. So there's 23 pages in there, but it's basically just how they think we can best comply with this law. We've been in, the thing that scared me the most was once somebody requests the camera, you have 30 days to get it installed and up and working. And in the world that we're living in right now, getting technology and parts, that's probably not realistic. So since the state has already given us the money, Mike has suggested that we go ahead and purchase the equipment right now because we can't use the money for anything else. The state gave us a certain amount of money that has to be used for these cameras. So our suggestion is that we adopt the policy and go ahead and purchase the equipment so that it's here if anyone ever asks us to install it and make the recording. But we're not obligated to do anything unless a parent asks in writing to do that.
So there will one be in each school? Is there a self-contained
There's a
class in
self-contained
each school?
class. Well, there's one at the elementary level, it's at Grayson, and there's one at the junior high and one at the high school. So
You said reasonable earlier. What determines reasonable?
as far as the 30 days or?
No, to, I guess, view a request to have, and the reason why I'm asking is if you got 2 parents, reasonable is gonna be different.
Right.
So is that something that we should define as far as reasonable or?
So their suggestion was it would have to be an accusation of criminal level abuse. So physical abuse, neglect, or sexual in nature. One of those 3 things. It would have to fall under one of those categories, and it would be an issue so serious that we would have to have law enforcement involved and school board presence as well, because it would turn into a legal personnel matter.
So if an allegation is made.
It defines incident on the first page.
So you want this done now, Mike?
That would be my recommendation they if we don't, we may end up waiting 6 months for those cameras to get here. And right now, they have the cameras available.
I'll say.
All right, we've got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
What's the cost associated,
Well, to us, nothing. It's going to be about $8,000.
Is that per?
For the cameras total?
Yes.
I think it was 13.
It was 13 and
13 total. And then there's a yearly subscription to the online software to
Did they say
redact
enough money?
voices, give us a transcript, and redact the transcript out of what we will see.
And that's in all 3 classrooms or one classroom?
That's all.
All 3?
That number is for all of them.
And the individual that's gonna have access is the superintendent, the IT department, and you.
But I will only have access if requested. I won't be able to just log in and view it. It would only be if someone submitted a formal request and it was determined.
So at any point in time, the superintendent would have access to looking, is that how it works, or just access to when the application is made?
No, right now only.
It would be IT department only.
Okay.
And it's all of our cameras, the ones we currently have and the ones we're adding to it, we give individuals the right to view if they need it. If a principal needs to view that camera on their campus plus another campus because it's showing across the street, like the high school and the pre-K, we give both of them access to that camera. If we don't want anybody but the IT department to have that access, nobody has it.
So the principal of the school wouldn't have access?
No, in fact, these recordings aren't even subject to public record laws or anything like that. No one can have access to these recordings, even.
And it's not gonna be used against the teacher for evaluation
It
purposes?
cannot. It's key in the policy, so.
All right, have we already approved that? All right, item G is consider approving of Head Start COLA stipend.
Okay, so COLA is COLA, it's a cost of living adjustment. Since we've had the grant in 2014, we've gotten 3 or 4 of these. They're usually like 1% to 2% of the total grant. And the first year we got it, Ms. Tillett was still here. And, you know, we've had no idea what to do with that. Working with them, we, because that grant pays everything, our part of the benefits and everything, we just always used it to offset benefits of the cost of the grant. This grant year, there's another COLA increase, and I went back to what we've done every single time, submitted it that way. And we have a new person, our regional financial grant specialist. She rejected it. I said, not to sound like, you know, a kid, but this is what we've always done. And so she said, well, things have changed, some laws have changed, or their rulings, or whatever, and we can't do that. They wanted us to use the money to give a raise. So you have to explain to them your school system, you can't give one group a raise without giving everyone a raise. Their Head Starts are in school systems, but they're all, you know, handled different ways. So her suggestion was to take that small chunk of money and just divide it amongst all the employees as a stipend. Because it can only go to Head Start if people with it or work with a Head Start. It can't go to any others. She said you could use the justification of the home visits, the after hours, the things that they had to do that they're never compensated for, as but we had to have the board approve it before we can.
What's gonna be the stipend amount?
It depends on their years and their salary. Just roughly figuring it, it would be, the high was 800 down to like 300.
So it's just giving it across the board, wouldn't be,
We can do that. We can just take it, chunk
Well, I mean,
it.
I don't wanna tell you how to do it, but I
No.
just, you know, the least amount of commotion
Right,
is gonna always be,
right.
you know, less for us, so.
Her first, suggestion was looking at the year service and say someone, was not working at the beginning of the grant cycle, came in, you could not give them as much. But she said that was totally up to us. So you can do it by years. You know, if you've been there longer, you get more, someone new, not, or we can do just like we're doing with the sales tax, we'll do it across the board.
But let me ask this, before, it's kind of backwards now, because I'm gonna accept it, but I'd like to see what you implement before, you know, it's done.
Yeah, and I can
or
give
after
it to
it's
you. We
done,
just
yeah.
wanted to throw it out there before we give figures to them. So if y'all are in agreement with it, we can put numbers on it
When
and
will they
present
get
you with that.
When will they get it, before Christmas?
If we move now, yeah,
Oh, really? So that they would, in fact, get it.
they would get two.
And remember, for the last 4, 5, or 6 years, every amount that we've been able to give, we've been giving. So it's not like we've held on to the money. We generously give.
And see, something that's different with all of our pre-K and Head Start people, when the state gives a raise, they don't send
Right.
the money for those people to get a raise, it comes out of the grant, so it hits the grants harder. And that's why we've always used that as an offset to those kind of things, but.
So Monica,
That marvelous leader down at Head Start, she will get some money, won't
She
she?
will.
I'm gonna leave that one up to you, because if you do it across the board,
We do it
they're
across
gonna
the
have
board.
an issue. If you do it equally, they're gonna have issues. So
Yeah.
whatever you come up with is fine.
No, we can do it across the board.
No, y'all, if you feel like the step down is
We'll run it
better.
both ways and see how.
Well, we
it
need
goes.
to approve it so far.
Yeah, I so move that whatever Monica just said, we,
All right, Maria second. All in favor, say aye. All right, item H is update on property taxes support case.
I hadn't talked with y'all about this in a while, so anyway, just an update, and I've called property people to deal with that. The court case was supposed to be held in December, and it's now been moved to March, so no reason given. Even if we win, which is very much expected, it can be appealed 2 more times, so we got right at $1 million outstanding. That does not include the property taxes that are being collected right now during this year. Let's see. This money's already been counted as revenue since we are most likely to win the case. So accounting-wise, we're supposed to count it, so that's the reason it's already counted. And that's it.
How many years has this been going on?
We're looking at fiscal year 20, 21, and 22. And we're about to, maybe looking at 23 if he continues.
We finally got 19.
We had 19, we had fiscal year 19 originally, because the sheriff should have held it, but he sent
They
it
gave
to
it
us
to him.
accidentally, because that was kind of new, I guess, to him at that point. And, but then we won the case, so we didn't have to send the money back, which is our goal. So, but
That it?
that's all I got.
All right. Item I, it's you again, financial update.
Financial update, give y'all a recap. Currently, the general fund has a budget of a negative $550,000, which unfortunately is very optimistic. And a couple things that have happened in the last week or two is capital outlay money that we spent through the ESSER grants. The state has all of a sudden decided that they did not want to pay us indirect, or any other school board, indirect costs on that, so that's around 20% of anything that we had that was capital outlay work. So for this last round that we sent in, it was $300,000 request on all kinds of items. And it's an automatic formula through the state website. We had zero indirect costs. So, and I was counting on about $70,000. And the original budget was budgeted $445,000 in indirect costs, and I just lost $70,000 potentially. And the state is all of a sudden going to drop more ESSER money on us, which I think is because they're having extra money left over because of putting $0 on capital outlay. So there's going to be a new round of ESSER money, from the way I understand it. That was from Janice.
Yeah, that's
last
not
week.
how it was communicated. It's
Okay.
interesting take on it.
Well, So it's kind of unknown right now, unfortunately. So that's the general fund. MFP counts, October 1 counts are probably down. And that wraps up sales, general fund. Sales tax we've kind of already discussed. Lunch fund is coming along pretty good. We were a little delayed on getting money from the state on more ordinary reimbursements, so that money is coming and that will be reflected in the next month. Maintenance fund is coming along just like it always has. So.
The ESSER's later, they will tell us where to spend it, won't they?
It goes into either ESSER 1, ESSER 2, ESSER 3, and whether it's evidence. Yeah, we have control over how it's spent. It has to be approved by, an approved expenditure by them, so.
All right. Thank you, David.
Yes, sir.
How low is our head count? Or
1582 is a good guess, is what we're at. We've been at 1,700 in the past.
Really?
So we're gonna drop to
Okay.
eventually?
And each student is around $8,000.
That's 200 times 8,000.
160.
200 students times.
And that's why we've made such a push to get our virtual kids back, so that we can account
And
for.
unfortunately, everybody's in the same, all other school boards essentially on the same boat. There might be 5 or 6 that were up last year.
Okay, we don't have too many dropping, do we? Dropping from
Not
regular
really.
to.
We've had a few this year, because of some other schools, but I mean, I don't know, it's just been a big drop since COVID, but we got a lot back, so it's, I don't know where they all went. Lots of money to change.
dropping for years.
I think nationwide though, there's like 2 million kids missing since COVID.
Yeah.
Schools across America, kids left during COVID and never came back to school. It's not even just a Louisiana thing.
But out of that 1,700 now, 1,700 but I mean, that's 1.6 million a year. And
That's a lot.
that would raise all the budget problem. So, that's all I have.
All right. Item J is district leaders update.
We had a lot going on. We had our big, Ready Start trunk or treat for the 3rd annual time. Really a big success. A lot of businesses really returned up for that. Down at Kelly, they've had the pumpkin carvings with the dads. We have parent picnics coming up this week. Just a lot going on between the two sites. A lot of family involvement. And families coming out in droves, so.
Monica, when do they eat Thanksgiving dinner? What, the date?
It's typically that Thursday, but I can let you know for sure.
You
Now,
should
this
invite.
Friday, this Friday, they're having a, Doll Festival down at Kelly. I think it's 10 to 1, something like that. It's just a couple hours. But, if any of you are out and about that day, they have a lot of community groups coming in. I think they're having music played during that time. Kids out there with the parents and families, so it'll be a good thing.
Reindeer games, volunteers?
Reindeer games, yeah. So Robin McKay is our early interventionist at the pre-K. She has been doing some work with the Autism Society of Northeast Louisiana and talking to someone in Franklin Parish that has done this. She is going to have she's heading up our first annual reindeer games. This is going to be over at the Brett Collins Community Center. It's only for our special needs children in grades K through 5, or if it's a self-contained junior high school class. Sometimes Christmas, we like, the more the better, the glitz, the lights, and for them that's too much. So this is going to be a day full of fun, Christmas activities, cool down, not the lights, not the glitter and the stuff, things that would be good for them. There's someone over there that plays Santa that has worked with theirs before that's not, some Santas are really good with kids and some they don't work with kids. So that person is going to come. We don't have David playing Santa. So that person's going to come over and do that. We've had a lot of community support. The Sheriff's Department's going to grill. Mitch Bratton and Brookshires are donating the food. A lot of people are donating things to give the kids as prizes throughout the day. So it's going to be a really big thing. We'll make sure y'all know about that when y'all come. It's December 7th.
Mom, how many autistic kids we got? A few?
Yeah, I don't know a number, but.
So bus drivers are aware that loud noise and all that stuff triggers reactions and all that? Because if not, they need to be trained because.
Should be. I don't know.
They do? Okay. Because if you don't understand and you don't know, then you don't know. So I think.
Yeah, I know from the lower end, anytime we have a child that needs special attention.
We got the nicest bus driver.
Okay.
Yeah, we take them and make sure they understand that, if they come in older or something, switch
You
buses.
guess they got it all the time, they better know what they do.
Rebecca, you got anything else?
Yeah, just as far as the department, October 1 count for us, we think it's gonna be a little teeny tiny bit down, reflective I think of the general school population, but if you've seen any of this in any of the papers about how, teachers and special education staff don't know how to use the new computer program, the report that actually outlines all of this stuff doesn't exist right now. So we are, with all of our IEP compliance, all of our evaluation compliance, all the components for all that stuff, my folks that I get to work with here every day are doing everything by hand because the computer system, the reports can't even be run to tell us if things are right. So Teresa is having to go through kid by kid, sometimes every kid that we have in the system, and pull the files just to try to make sure that we're on top of things. And Tanya has just sort of built our own personal spreadsheet that does everything that the system's supposed to do. So we're trucking along, and I think we've actually evaled more kids to date than we have any other school year in the past in spite of that. But the state rolling out this new system on the timeline that they did has not made things easy for us. So right now we're just working at a best estimate, although I think we only have 3 more weeks in December. Mm-hmm. Yeah, December 1st when they're saying is the date. So.
We just received all of our BenQ boards to supplement the classrooms that didn't have those boards. So every classroom will be equipped with one of the boards, but also we'll be able to connect the entire school once everyone gets one in their classroom, and we can push out announcements from the principal straight to those boards.
Mike, now, it's three people in your department, man. You're not doing everything.
No.
Because
the boards are here.
You're always here, and I just want to make sure that you're not doing everything and not being compensated for what you're doing.
Definitely not. Others are there. We've received the boards. We're waiting for the other company that will come in and install them. By no means, none of us.
So this is a new
in all three.
You wanna give us a demonstration?
I can, if you like. It may be better that I set it up prior to the next board meeting.
Let's do it for the
Yes.
next meeting.
Yeah.
Let's do it for the next meeting.
We've received those boards, we're waiting on the company to come in and install them. Coach Abby has finished about 25 to 30 of the new laptops for all the teachers that will go out across the entire district. Miss Merritt has finished the 3 elementary schools with their Chromebooks and getting them enrolled and giving them out. And we've got a few more to go to the high school and the junior high, and that'll be another 400 Chromebooks across the district that'll be going out. We've set up orders for the pre-K and the Head Start for their new cameras to match what the rest of the school has, the rest of the district has. And just trying to fill in the gaps with all the technology stuff that we've been adding in the last 2 years.
Just make sure you're not doing it by yourself.
Oh, no.
They're a great team. Anybody else have here, any directors? Okay.
Item K is superintendent's report.
All right, so we have a home playoff game Friday against Richwood, 7 o'clock. We're super excited. We ended up ranked number 16, so proud of our guys. Cost looks like it's going to be $10 and no passes for this one. So we're getting together, hopefully do some pre-sale, but we'll hopefully announce that. We also have a Veterans Day program Thursday at 10 o'clock at the high school. So we welcome you to come out for that. And then Randy, we've got the capital improvement expenditures. Do you want to mention that at this time since we put a copy in here?
Yeah, we, I sent all of y'all, did you get yours on phone? All right, sent all of y'all copies of this by phone. Hopefully y'all got it. You know, I'll have this in your folder. Everything's going good. One thing that we hadn't talked about, and it's not on here, is the track and the football field. We do have not really a set bid, but a more or less an estimated bid for the track in hand, and it looks like we're going to be able to do the track, the football field, and possibly the practice field, and with the money that we have. So that's going to be something that's going to be great. I mean, we're doing the tennis court, got the tennis courts, basically they're hand in hand. We haven't the lights on up yet or anything like that, but if y'all been by there, you're seeing, you know, everything's going on there. But the next thing in line is the football field and the track. And it looks like we're going to have enough money to do both, the football field and the track, and the drainage, taking care of the drainage at the same time.
And the roofing at Kelly, all that, they're doing that over the Thanksgiving break. So it's, fixing the inside of that. That's
How did they do that?
Say, Mike,
I think it's spray
They're gonna
insulation.
spray it, they're gonna take all of it, fall
Gotcha.
and spray it.
Nikki, the high school sign, where we at on that? Is it fixed?
Mike,
What's
So,
the status on it?
the company came in, it's amazing Brian was here, he and I actually talked about a lot of the equipment that's up there now. We could not fix it, I couldn't do it. A company came in, they looked at it, they're not 100% sure what's wrong with it. They are going to get back to me supposedly sometime this week to bring in what they think may fix it, and it won't cost us very much that way. If not, we're going to have to replace the entire guts of the sign itself, not the physical outside of the sign. They took measurements to give us an estimate on that once they determined that the simple fix won't work.
So what would be the cost on that versus just getting a new sign? Because it's been out too long, I guess is what I'm saying. Not any fault of your own.
Right.
But it's just been out.
Right, I'm not sure. The simple fix will be, he said he may even give us the equipment because it's so old, he has to go dig for it.
But if
In
we
a
get
bucket.
that equipment and something else happen, are we facing the same
You're
problem?
facing the same problem.
So if we can consider at some point, balancing that with something new that's up to date, that'll eliminate all this other stuff. Because again, it's really not, making any sense to have the sign that's not working.
That's what we talked
And
about
that's
too.
not our
is-
fault, it's just the
Right.
situation.
I think it was put in 2012
Yeah,
when
it's
I
not
actually
that old.
looked. So it's 10 years old and they only
But
last
it's
about 4
outdated,
to 5. So, 4 to 5 year old sign, 10 to 11
It changes
years.
up quick.
You know it's
Software
old
changes.
because it says
That's old.
Caldwell
That's old.
Junior High School. We don't have a junior high school. Got a middle school.
Yeah, you're right.
The estimate they will give us will be for a new sign.
But he said, what, a couple of weeks?
Couple of weeks is what he told me week before last. So I'm gonna hound, I was out last week being
I
sick.
guess what I'm saying is before this year is like, we need to know something.
Absolutely.
I would like to know something. You know,
Absolutely.
to make a decision as to,
What
what
to
we need
do.
to do in the future, especially if we get money that's already there that might be able to offset something coming out of the general fund.
Correct.
Put it on the wish list.
Could we use extra money for that?
I
Nobody?
don't know. We have to, everything with ESSER has to relate to COVID.
Dave, you can use timber money and stuff like that, right?
No, we could put in all.
For upkeep, construction and all
We do
that.
what?
In all.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's there, yeah, I'm not saying it's there, but I mean,
Yeah, I mean, there's not that much on.
But they approved the football field and the track, you know, I
We
mean,
can try.
so we can
If we
definitely
do
try.
get
One
enough.
thing I would like to add on the track, this does include the prices, just the preliminary price that it did get, does include cutting out, removing the coat that's on it right now, and then reapplying a new coat all the way around, cutting out the dips and everything, repairing all that. So we will have a functioning track, or we will be able to have track meets at Caldwell High School.
And when we can crown the field, it will fix the drainage issues, so that we won't be looking at this
so
again.
Randy, you're pretty confident in this?
Yeah, I think this is gonna be good. But, I've got some stuff I can, don't have it with me, but as far as the track, I've got some other material.
But this been.
There's a lot of it.
what,
It's a long
last
time.
10
Yeah, I didn't think I was going a long time.
What would the difference in a turf field be? I don't know, but have y'all looked at that? I know it's got to be
We
much,
talked
much
about it.
higher,
It's a
but
Across a whole lot
Yeah,
higher.
yeah.
Yeah. and-
just, we're not there yet, basically.
No, we're
Well,
not.
I know a lot of schools are going to that.
Absolutely, and
We'd
and
love
we were
to.
holding out on that, and then when we found out what it might cost to just do something, my thing is I hate to keep saying we're gonna wait and do it later, and these kids are coming up to the program and everybody's waiting for later. So we started going, we went out and said, what could we do now? And then maybe do turf later,
Yeah.
and found out that it was within our budget, and so we're like, if we can get it approved, let's try.
Yeah, right.
That way we can hopefully, start on it as soon as football season is over and have it ready for next season, so.
And when we're talking about recrowning it, we're talking about 11 to 15 inches. I mean,
Right.
you're talking about.
You're taking the dip out of the sidelines where the boys are standing and the water's holding
We're
on
gonna
the
recrown
rainy
it.
game.
The crown's gonna be, a good crown on the field. And,
And then building a practice field behind the visitors bleachers that's lit and everything, so that
Okay.
way they wouldn't be tracking over across.
All the way
They'll
across
be
to the, behind the junior high, okay.
As someone that works for Citizens Progressive Bank, one of the things that I would like to see is a visitor's locker room that's not in
Yes.
disarray and disgust.
It's on the, agenda for.
I have one more question, one more petition to the board, to make, a motion to amend the agenda, to hear the voice of the kids that are here, as you asked the Bessie board to do the same, to listen to your voices and the parents' voices. This is not something, to discuss specific actions that, have been taken by administration, but only a character, thoughts and the thoughts of the kids, of their thoughts of Coach Shaw.
As a parent, I second that motion.
Hey,
I asked the board
let me
to
just tell
take
you
a
this.
vote on it.
Had I known ahead of
Yeah,
time,
well, let me
I
just-
did know that it needed to be done in 7 days,
Well,
but I
let me
didn't know
let me
about
just tell you this. If I had the authority to do that right now, no matter what somebody else thought here, I would do that. So since I don't have that authority,
To make a motion?
I can't do it, yeah, because the law doesn't require me to do that, or allow me to do it. If I could, trust me, because I don't have a problem with listening to anybody about any concern, because that's why I'm here. So I don't want these kids to feel like they're neglected. The process just wasn't followed in the right manner. If we can get to that
So
point,
the policy that I read said that, yes, in so many days ahead of the meeting or at the meeting, a board member would have the ability to make a motion. It would have to have unanimous vote, but someone could make a motion to amend the agenda.
right, but
Parliamentary procedure, Robert
if
rules of law,
if
right?
there's a motion made and there's no second, then it dies.
Correct. I agree.
Okay, so what I'm saying is this, no matter what motion is made in second,
Mhm.
At the end of the day, the board has no authority to overrule what the superintendent has done. Hold on,
That's all
again,
I'm asking.
call your legislator, because I've been against Act 1 since its inception.
Right.
Because it takes away the power and authority from the board. However, since that exists, whether I like it or not, I respect the fact that the superintendent has made that decision, and there's absolutely nothing I can do.
Yep.
Nothing.
Yep.
No board member or anything.
As long as y'all recognize the heartburn that you're putting on the children that have showed
And I
up for
understand
support
that,
tonight.
what the voice that I was bringing was not to asking you, because I do realize that that it is with Superintendent McCann in her decision, but I'm just bringing the voice of the kids back to what the board members want, what they want you to know.
Well, let me ask you this. All of you guys that's here, Nick, I think you would be in agreement with this. How about you guys come and meet with the superintendent?
That's exactly what I was going to
And
suggest.
whatever leisure time that you have, she'll make, provisions for you guys to do that, to hear any and all concerns that you may or may not have.
I will talk to any
Will that
parent
suffice?
and student. I
Well, you
do
can't
need
do
you to
it now.
know, I cannot tell you the things that I would be breaking the law.
Well, let's set a time.
One
and
thing
date.
I would like to add to this
Let's set a
is
time.
we do appreciate the fact that all
Oh, yeah. No
all
time.
y'all kids are here. Look,
But you won't hear them. You
won't
can't
hear them, but you're hearing them loud and clear.
As someone that was in
They're here.
office for 12 years
They're here.
and sat in meeting rooms
But
with no one listening
they're-
to us make decisions, I completely understand that you'd like
Again,
to see us.
if the
Right.
law gave me the
But this is a
authority, I
personnel
would
matter
make the
that has
motion.
nothing to do with the board.
Right,
It
I would
has
make the
nothing to
motion.
do with this board. We have no authority at all on this.
Are you
But,
curious?
but we hear y'all loud and clear. I mean,
Are you curious about it though?
am I what?
Are you curious about it?
About what?
About the decision that was made?
I'm curious about anything that goes
Okay.
on in this school system. I'm
Excellent.
curious about everything that goes on.
Excellent,
in
that's
this
all
school
I'm
system.
asking.
When can we make this? When can we see how the
Whenever you,
You can email me. My email is
you have a spokesman for
mccann.
your group? You have a spokesman?
I will meet with any parent and student, not as a group, but individually.
Oh, I think since the students have showed up, I don't see a thing in the world about letting them speak.
It's not legal though.
Can't do it.
It's, can I ask, where is the, what's the legality on that? Because I don't know, I'm asking for my, what's the legality? Nikki, you can talk to me, I'm okay, we've known each other since we were kids.
That's absolutely. So Louisiana Revised Statute 1781 requires that all personnel decisions be left to the exclusive authority of the superintendent. Board policy provides for the same. The board is without authority to act on personnel matters and cannot override decisions. As it relates to requests of current community members to place a current matter on the agenda, you cannot do it anyway. As we are on the Sunday night before a Monday meeting, this one I found out, an item cannot legally be added to the agenda this late. At the actual meeting, a unanimous vote would have to be required to add the item, but again, the board is without authority to act and could take no action. Moreover, as you have filled the position, there is no longer a vacancy. The opinion of our attorneys is that the board allowed for the discussion, if the board allowed for discussion of the coaching position at issue, it would require a unanimous vote to add the item to the agenda. It is further our opinion that doing so would only make the interested persons only more upset because there is nothing the board can do to grant them any relief they may request.
So the board, the kids can speak, and I don't think
Yeah.
think they are concerned with
Right,
the personnel
Right.
decision.
Right.
I think the kids want to be heard,
absolutely.
I think
and
it
if
was a
there's a
statement
unanimous
here.
vote to let the kids be heard,
Yeah.
that's
So-
totally legal.
Let me ask you this, what would be the difference with them talking, hold on, with them talking to the person that has the right to talk to
Can we
them?
not just take a vote to see if it's unanimous?
Well, I'm not
and then it's
I'm not
discarded.
gonna do
You're telling me
anything
to hold on, but then it's discarded. If it's not unanimous,
I'm not
then we
gonna
don't
do
have
anything
then we don't
illegal.
have to listen to. That's totally legal, right? Just what Ms. McCann
But what I'm
just said.
saying is, if a motion is made and there's no second, it dies.
That's right.
So
Exactly right.
if a motion is made and it
So no school board member wants to make a motion, take a vote.
I make that motion
What motion?
That's right.
to let the
What's the motion?
students speak.
All right, I'd like to amend that motion.
Oh,
I amend that motion to, we can't let every student in here speak. There's one student that represents all the students speak.
And that was the reason that I typed this up, so that I could speak on their behalf. It was not to discuss any personnel issues, but the thoughts of what they feel like Coach Shaw has brought to the tennis program was exactly what was on this piece of paper.
Yep, do what?
That's exactly what I was going to say on behalf of all of the students at one time. Not, I was going to read this. Not, get into anything personal. That's exactly what this was.
But this is something that you've been over with all the students here. They've all seen what you're fixing to say.
A majority of us.
All the students here are seeing what she's fixing
We've
to
all
say.
talked to Ms. Caldwell. Are we
Y'all
all?
all seen what she's gonna say. Since you made your motion, I amended the motion to have one person speak on the issue.
Kayla, you got to do a roll call.
We're gonna have to do a roll
It
call.
has to be unanimous.
We ain't got a second?
We gotta have a second on the amendment, amended motion.
Oh, excuse me. I'll second it.
I don't think that was second.
I think that's it.
I'll do a roll call. All right, roll call to add it to the agenda for one person to speak on behalf of the students, okay? All right, so Mr. Randy,
Yes.
Ms. Judith Ann,
Yes.
Ms. Melinda,
No.
Baron,
No.
Maria. Mr. King.
Ms. Shannon.
Gary. Mr. Gary. 5 noes against 2 yeses. Motion does not carry. Again, I am willing to talk to any parent and student individually.
Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
So make a motion. Second, and we'll do a roll.